Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Invasive Species. Gulpin's run didn't go so well, but how would its Kanto counterpart, Grimer, perform here in Hoenn? Before we discuss that, just a quick rundown of the rules. Only Grimer in battle sans Tate and Liza, as you need a second mon to fight them, but that one is strictly for throwaway purposes. Our Grimer, like all other mons before it, runs on max IVs, has a hidden power of our choosing, and we also pick the nature as well as the ability if applicable. Our Sludgy Pro Tag also gets access to an egg move. Now, I know Grimer is part of the Hoenn dex, but just like Pinsir, it was introduced in Generation 1, aka Kanto, so that's what we're gonna run it as. And come on, look at Gulpin and Grimer. They're totally Gen 3 cousins. That said, let's take a look at Grimer's base stats. Our hit points and attack are pretty good for a first form mon, but everything else is subpar, and we're also extremely slow. But I'm not all that concerned about the speed, and I'll show you why here in a sec. How are those level up moves looking? That's not bad. Poison Gas, despite its terrible 55 accuracy, I think will actually be very useful against Roxanne in particular. That's true even here in the beginning, as we can just set up Harden while Poison Gas racks up damage, if it hits. Sludge Bomb at 43 is nice. It learns just a bit later than Gulpin though. Gulpin's coverage was pretty good, so how about its little rival here in this series? Normally, Wattson would be a massive wall for a poison type here in Ruby Sapphire due to having two steel types, but Grimer can learn Flamethrower. Combine that with our inevitable Pickup Army's own little grind, as well as Pickup being extremely broken in Ruby Sapphire, we'll be able to afford TM25 at Mobile Game Quarter, and, well, Wattson's gonna go bye-bye, not worried about that. Despite how broken Pickup is, though, we're most likely gonna have to grind for that little, RNG luck there. And speaking of Moville, once we beat Norman, we can do Wattson's little fetch quest for a free Thunderbolt TM, and I think we're totally going to. Can't say this dudette doesn't have good coverage, so Gulpin and Grimer have that in common too. As mentioned earlier, we have access to an egg move, and I mentioned I'm not worried about our abysmal speed. Well, I was actually planning on Shadow Punch for coverage while relying on Acid Armor, hence the name of the thumbnail, but I literally changed my mind at the last second because I'm so used to Curse being used by ghosts that I kinda forgot about the buff to attack and defense at the expense of speed. Good thing too, because Curse is the perfect egg move for a Pokemon as slow as Grimer. And one quick note about our ability, I went with Stench because Pokemon DB says it flinches. Turns out that's not quite the case in Gen 3 unfortunately, because I guess I didn't look deep enough into the ability. It acts as a pseudo-repellent, so not all that useful. In fact, it's gonna make getting our Zigzagoon pickup army a little bit more, not difficult, just kinda tedious. The other ability is Sticky Hold, and that's not all that useful either, since the only fight I can think of where that might come into play is Brawly's Makuhita with Knockoff, and not exactly the biggest concern. That said, I doubt the lack of a good ability will affect this Pokemon's progress, but we'll see how that prediction pans out. After some grinding, we're at Roxanne at a time that's pretty on brand for Grimer. We'll forego play-by-play here, as the strategy is get Poison Gas to hit. When it does, build up Curse for defense so that we can hopefully outlast Roxanne's team. She likes to go for Rock Tomb until we're slower, and we definitely will be after one Curse or one Rock Tomb speed drop, whatever happens first. I say that because Rock Tomb in Gen 3 has 80 accuracy, so it is prone to missing. In fact, Roxanne doesn't have any 100 accuracy moves on her roster. We absolutely do not want to see critical hits here, as they'll bypass our buffed defense. For attacking, I'm thinking Pound for Geodude since Sludge is double resisted, and we can switch to Sludge for Nose Pass due to it being pure Rock type. We have pretty good luck with Poison Gas hitting in this fight, and just for safety, we have an Oranberry equipped. Held items are allowed, but other items like potions, full heals, and X items are not allowed in combat. Outside of combat is fine, of course, but never in battle. I'm not gonna say Roxanne is easy, but the fact that we were able to defeat her on the first try, well, I will happily take that. Slow and steady wins the race. There's a reason why the tortoise beat the hare. And to maintain our strong start, we're gonna go straight for Brawly, and we don't have anything great for him, but Poison does resist fighting somehow. So the only move I'm actually worried about in that fight is Seismic Toss from his Machop. Turns out we don't have to worry all that much because Machop goes for Leer and we're faster, so two Sludges puts it down. As Makuhita comes out, we're faster, go for Sludge, and we poison it. Bulk up, yeah, we're good. Well, I didn't think Brawly was going to be that simple, but the Cycling Ord rival, that might be another story. Marsh Stomp with same type Mudshot I am concerned about, even with Curse, and before we fight her, we are at 1 hour 45 minutes. Let's see how the first attempt goes. Well, she leads off with a pure grass type, so yeah, that's a strong start. We didn't need that crit, but no kill, quite like overkill. Now, I'm thinking that we're going to go for Poison Gas against Marsh Stomp as it comes out, and believe it or not, the first one actually hits, and it ends up going for Bide? What? Thanks for the free setup, jerk. So we're going to be able to set up 2 curses before she unleashes energy. Not a big deal. By the time we're powered up, we're going for Sludge, and Marsh Stomp is going for Water Gun. I think May must be related to Brock. Maybe she paid a visit to Kanto and got the Bide TM off of him. Well, this fight didn't go the way I thought it would, and yet Nubel exists, but even though it resists poison, we're powered up by Curse, very easy one-shot. Now, if you'll excuse me, we're gonna go fight tons of trainers so that we can have our Zigzagoon army pick up enough items to sell to get TM35 for Flamethrower for Wattson. Well, it's a while for me. For you guys, we're there right here, right now, due to the power of good old editing, basic though mine may be. We start off by one-shotting Magnemite with Flamethrower. Voltorb is next, obviously faster despite our level lead. Goes for Sonic Boom, interesting. It usually likes to go for Self-Destruct, but I ain't gonna complain. Out comes Magneton, whom we're also slower than. It goes for Shockwave, deals a little bit of damage. Flamethrower deals well over half, so as long as we don't get crit, which we do not, 2-shot, awesome. I have to say, that was actually kind of an interesting Wattson fight because he loves spamming Thunderwave because I consider him to be the Gen 3 love status mascot, but I think it's because we were slower why he didn't go for it. Ah well, free win for us is always nice, especially against this guy. Next up is Maxi, whom we don't match up against particularly well between Camera being part ground type, and I believe it has Magnitude, and of course Golbat. Mightyena also has Intimidate and Sand Attack. Thanks to Intimidate, we're going to use Flamethrower, deal well over half, and Mightyena goes for Bite. Well, that's good. We don't have to worry about our accuracy being dropped at least. For Camerupt, we'll go for Secret Power, no secondary effect. It goes for Focus Energy, and then Magnitude. Thankfully, that did not crit us. We, however, crit Camerupt. Last is Golbat is faster, hits us with Wing Attack, and we confuse it off of Secret Power. Secret Power has a secondary effect depending on your terrain. And gotta say, pretty good luck with it hitting itself in confusion. Case in point, Golbat is confused, takes itself out for us. Well, Maxi, if you're so invested in this battle, you should like, share, and subscribe and become part of the RPS squad. No, not RPS squad, that's redundant. RP squad, yeah, there we go. RPSQUAD, oh yeah. We'll go ahead and make our way over to Lava Ridge Town where we'll battle Flannery in hopes of getting our 4th badge. I gotta say, Grimer's not been doing too bad. Nice little string of first try victories so far. Will Slimer maintain the course and have a first try against this newly appointed fire-type gym leader? Well, let's find out, shall we? Well, Secret Power one-shot Slugma, that's a good start. I think about going for Curse, but don't want to risk getting burned, so Sludge, one-shot to Slugma. Last is her ace, Torkoal. We are faster, go for Sludge, deal good damage. Unfortunately, she hits us with Body Slam and we get paralyzed off of it, so now we are slower. Turn 2, she goes for Overheat. Flannery does not have a White Herb here in Ruby Sapphire. And hey, even cooler, we poison Torkoal off of Sludge. Unfortunately, not quite enough to put it away, but as Flannery goes for Hyper Potion, we go for Curse. And what a difference that makes. Check out the damage we deal with Sludge, only one more hit to go. Flannery heals again, no problem, we'll go for Sludge, but unfortunately, we do lose our turn to Paralysis. Not just once, but twice. This looks like a bust. Overheat doesn't miss, and down we go. I'm not all that bothered by it. We had a nice little string there. But I think I know what we're going to do once we get to Torkoal. As Torkoal comes out, we're going to go for Curse right away. Thanks to that, Body Slam only deals 16 points of damage. And despite Curse, we're still faster. That's wild. Overheat doesn't crit us, so yeah, we're good to go. Grimer outspeeding even with one use of Curse. I can't say I was expecting that at all this run, but hey, you just never know what you're going to get in these Invasive Species runs. I think about going back to Fall Arbor and getting the Return TM, but nah, we're gonna go straight for Norman. If we want Return, we can always defeat Winona, get Fly, and then fly back later. Well, I can tell you, this battle against Norman was, pretty interesting. It was the most Gen 3 thing I have ever seen. Well, seen in a while, I should say. Now, he has 2 Slacking and a Vigoroth. He leads off with 1 Slacking, and because it's faster, it goes for a Yawn, which, it's fine. It's trying to put us to sleep. We go for Curse. So we end up falling asleep, and despite that, he keeps on going for a Yawn. I don't even know why. I didn't set up Safeguard. I wasn't trying to cheese this fight. My theory is that Norman heard what we said about Wattson being the mascot of Gen 3 Love status, and Norman took that very personally. Well, Norman, I just might reevaluate that statement and consider you top dog for that job, that honor, if you want to call it that. As we battle May in the final required rival fight, because we always beat up May or Brendan depending on who we're playing as, at Lilycove for the great XP yield. Whether you're new here or have been here for a while, just a heads up and reminder for those of you who have been here for a while, that this is one of many pre-recorded and scheduled uploads. Life kinda got in the way near the end of last year due to peak season where I work, and I'll be moving to a new location near the end of this month, so I wanted to not only get the channel back on track, but go full speed ahead. Since I upload the Fire Red runs on Monday and Ruby on Friday, we've got a little over a month's worth of Invasive Species content here on Razor's Pokemon Shenanigans, ready and waiting for you to enjoy. Thanks for your time, let's get back to the challenge and see how we match up against the Flying Gym. And as we make battle preparations to fight her, I gotta say, I'm really glad we can get an Everstone inside of Granite Cave, because anytime we level up, I gotta push the B button. Having the Everstone equipped when we're fighting random trainers, boy does that save time, it really does add up. That is a pretty big advantage that pre-evolved Kanto mons here in Hoenn have. I mean, you get the Everstone in Kanto as well, but you gotta catch 20 Pokemon for it, and that takes up a lot of time, so no thanks. Interestingly enough, Swallow attacks rather than going for double team on turn 1. I don't mind though, easy one-shot. Altaria's next, deals about half our health with Earthquake, and Sludge Bomb is almost a one-shot, so as she goes to heal with a Hyper Potion, we're gonna go for Curse, that way we will definitely one-shot this Pokemon. And because we're slower anyway, the speed drop really doesn't matter, and because we used Curse, check this out. Altaria goes for Dragon Dance to try to counteract our defense buff, but too little too late, bye-bye. Now, due to our typing, she's going to send out Skarmory next because Steel is, of course, immune to poison. Little does Winona realize that our slimy Protag has Flamethrower. And even better, we tanked that critical Steel Wing. She's going to use her second Hyper Potion on Skarmory, but because we deal well over half damage, it's a moot point. And case in point, check this out, really cool. Skarmory goes for Steel Wing again and misses. That's a 10% chance. I love that. And we're pretty much good to go, because unless we hit ourselves to death, barring we get hit by Supersonic, which we don't, yeah, we're fine. Thanks to Curse, Pelipper went for Water Gun and dealt pitiful damage. Now, as mentioned before, we do the optional May/Brendan battle at Lilycove because the XP is pretty darn good. A good chance to talk about strategy for the upcoming Psychic Gym battle, which is obviously going to be difficult for us, or slow. Both Solrock and Lunatone have same type Psychic, and Lunatone in particular is a pretty strong special attacker. But I think that we'll at least try fighting them when we get there, just to see how we match up and see how much we gotta level up. Worst case scenario, there are tons of trainers around Mossdeep, and we can also go to Pacific Log, get a return team if we really want to, because our friendship is no doubt maxed out with our Grimer at this point. And the real benefit to that is that there are tons of trainers en route to Pacific Log, and for that little, the Strong Currents puzzle I've always called it, a lot of trainers there you can fight too. There's one with 5 Gyarados and a Magikarp. Since we have Thunderbolt, that's the one I really want to fight, if we need to. Alright, as we get ready to save in front of Tate and Liza, we are at 5 hours and 25 minutes. Not bad. Let's do this. Round 1. We use Sludge Bomb on Lunatone. It has weaker defense between the two of them, and yeah, that damage isn't amazing. Just a reminder that we need a second Pokemon, and Tailo knows Focus Energy, so it doesn't affect the battle at all. And we get hit by Hypnosis, and the 1-2 punch of Psychic takes us down, so definitely gonna need a Chesto Berry for this. And I think it's pretty clear that we do have to level up, but I figure I'll take some time to test out damage ranges, all that good stuff. And I've decided to settle on Tailo as our partner Pokemon here because, again, Focus Energy, but it's also what we use to fly around Hoenn, so it has double uses. He's our buddy for pretty much the entire run. So we come back after grinding a bit. We want to go for Solrock and get it poisoned. If we poison it, we two-shot it. Solrock also has to waste a turn on Sunny Day, which it did. Case in point, poisoning Lunatone, it goes for Calm Mind, and we're good. Yeah, this was certainly not a first try after returning, but after I switched over to Solrock, it only took about 4 tries. Next up is Maxi. We track him down to the cave where Groudon is just kind of chilling out. This fight is potentially hard because Camerupt now has same type Earthquake, and Crobat is Crobat. It's fast, has Air Cutter, has Confuse Ray, resists Sludge Bomb, could be rough. And of course, Mightyena is there with Intimidate. And the battle starts off amazing. We don't one-shot Mightyena, but we poison it with Sludge Bomb, and Scary Face misses. Maxi heals with a Super Potion, but that's a horribly outdated healing item at this point. He shouldn't be using items in battle anyway. Out comes Camerupt. We go for Sludge Bomb and deal pretty good damage, and that's what I thought. Goes for Amnesia. He loves doing that, despite the fact he could obliterate us with Earthquake. How many trainers have been competing to be the Gen 3 He Loves status mascot in this run? I've lost track. Well, we do end up defeating Camera up with Sludge Bomb, even though we really shouldn't have. We have Thunderbolt for Crobat, though, so I'm not that worried. Well, Maxi was a first try. What about Wallace? Will he be? Well, I can say that we don't want Love Disc here at all. We're going for Sludge Bomb right away to take it out. If we're going to set up on Whiscash instead. Although this thing does have Earthquake, might as well go for Return, and it also goes for Amnesia. Alright, well, I'll take that freebie, thank you very much. Well, maybe Wallace will continue to throw the fight. Well, we don't get to find out what Cilio does because we're faster and one-shot it. Next up is Seaking, 2 Kanto veterans here in Hoenn, but unfortunately Seaking goes down to a single Sludge Bomb. RIP, old internet meme. Now, as for my low tick, we do not one-shot it with Sludge Bomb, but we do poison it. We get hit by Water Pulse and we're confused. Wallace uses a Hyper Potion, we go for Sludge Bomb and don't hit ourselves, which is absolutely awesome. And that poison really ticking away. As long as we don't hit ourselves, we're good. And we don't. Very nice. Now, I would narrate Wally's battle, but considering that he has Gardevoir, who could obliterate us with same-type Psychic, he thinks that going for Double Team is way cooler, and that's about the only trouble we have with this fight, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I gotta say, it's pretty cool to do these Generation 3 challenges. I played a lot of Fire Red Leaf Green when I was in college. I got my associates in 2015. And any class that was not biology, I would just play Fire Red Leaf Green, whether it was in between class or if, well, honestly, I played during class too and just kept it muted. Couldn't get away with that in biology lab, but hey. Playing Generation 3 just gives me those fond slacking off in college memories. Anyway, we go pick up some rare candies, PowerPoint ups, ethers that we missed, all that good stuff. And it's time to battle the Hoenn Elite Four as Grimer. Let's do this, shall we? I figure this is the best time for us to top off our rare candies here. Since we're going to be outsped by quite a few Pokemon we'll be facing, we're going to need to be able to hit them as hard as we can. Really take advantage of that 80 base attack. Also, 722, we are well ahead of Gulpin. So first up is Sidney, and not too worried about this, especially with that shot, one-shotting Money ended despite Intimidate. We're super effective against 2 of his Pokemon, and yeah, Absol has Snatch, which is pretty much a free turn for us. Yeah, this fight not even really worth talking about. Quite the contrast to Gulpin's performance against Lorelab, wouldn't you say? But don't worry, Phoebe's coming up, and we're going to be playing the Curse Lottery. 1 in 4 chance she goes for Curse. If she does, well, just reset, and I'll show you why. Although taking out the first Dusclops was nice, we can at least test out our damage here. But yeah, Curse, when used by Ghosts, takes half of its health and deals a quarter of our health, the Pokemon it uses the Curse on, for every turn until it faints, and we're not going to be able to KO this team with those remaining turns. So, as it stands, we're going to have to get pretty lucky to get by this fight. The entire fight is determined by how the first Dusclops acts. Dusclops 2 has Earthquake, which I'm not too worried about, but her Mons have Psychic as well, which can be pretty annoying. But funny enough, we have to use Curse ourselves to get by this fight, I really think so. Check out the damage we dealt to Dusclops after that. We are confused right now, but that's better than Curse. We'll switch on over to Thunderbolt. Thankfully, we don't hit ourselves in confusion. Sableye comes out despite resistance. Sludge Bomb is a one-shot. Out comes the first of 2 Bane. It's obviously faster. Psychic does a bit of damage, but we take it out in one hit ourselves. Now, we don't one-shot Dusclops and take a pretty weak Earthquake, but thanks to that Citrus Berry, Phoebe will not heal despite the poison, allowing us to capitalize in 2-shot. The last Bane, it only hits us with a weak Shadow Ball before going down in 1 hit. Next up is Glacia. Not that worried about her. 1 Curse and Sludge Bomb should sweep, as long as we don't get frozen or crit. And fortunately for us, the Glalie she leads off with almost always goes for Hail, so that's a free turn to set up. Turn 2 Light Screen, absolutely perfect. And we power up from perfect to super perfect by one-shotting not just the first Cilio, but as the second one comes out, we one-shot that one too. Glalie 2 comes out, hits us with a pretty strong Ice Beam, all things considered. Last is Walrein. Blizzard does not crit or freeze us. Perfect. We one-shot it, down it goes. Very easy first try. Love to see it. Next up is Drake, the Dragon-type trainer, and I don't think he's going to be that hard either. We don't really care about Shelgon's Rock Tomb speed drop, considering that we're going with Curse strategies here. The thing is, though, that with Curse and Rock Tomb, Shelgon is faster and actually does a bit of damage to us with Dragon Claw before it goes down to an unnecessary critical hit. Out comes the first Flygon. It sets up Sandstorm. We one-shot it with Return. Flygon 2 hits us with a weak Flamethrower before going down. Out comes Altaria, and we unfortunately get crit by Dragon Breath. That's annoying, but at least we one-shot it. And unfortunately, our health is just too low. Salamence takes us out with Dragon Claw. You know, if we didn't get crit by Altaria, I think we would have won that. Let's put that theory to the test. On turn 2 this time, I do anticipate Protect and get another curse in. Dragon Claw doesn't really matter that much. The first Flygon goes the exact same way as it did before. Flygon 2 comes out, hits us with Dragon Breath. Thankfully, no paralysis. Double thankfully, we one-shot it. This time, as Altaria comes out, it goes for Dragon Dance. Perfectly fine. One Sludge Bomb and it's done. And yeah, judging by Salamance's Dragon Claw damage, yeah, we would have survived that if we didn't get crit before. And we can't say the same for Salamence. Down it goes. And this is where we bid farewell to Sludge Bomb. It was super useful the entire run, and I really like that in 2 back-to-back runs I got to use it. Sludge Bomb is my favorite Generation 3 move, also physical, pre-Gen 4. We're going to teach Hidden Power. We gave Grimer Ground, not only that, but we're also going to teach Rest for some awesome stall-out strats. But that means we have to fight Skarmory with Return. Thankfully, Skarmory likes going for Spikes on turn 1, exactly what we get. Turn 2, Steel Wing is dealing laughable damage as we set up. Now, the setting up is going all well and good here. However, there is one flaw, and that's if we suffer a critical hit that bypasses our defense boosts. Check out Return's damage. That's almost a one-shot. That's a very good sign. Steven swaps into Aggron, and we take Thunder, take it out with Hidden Power Ground. Out comes Claydol, and that curse was a misclick. I meant to go for Rest. We have a Chesto Berry equipped to wake us right back up. Claydol follows up with another Earthquake, and of course, it gets the mother of all convenient timing with that crit. He swaps back into Skarmory, uses a full restore, and we almost one-shot him with Return. That is pretty awesome. We'll go ahead and pop Rest here. Oh, no convenient critical hit? That's so nice. Well, we missed with Steel Wing, and then we got crit again. What is Steven going by Gen 1 crit rules? Well, I decided to go for Rest again, but he swaps into Metagross, and that's pretty much all she wrote. We're a Sitting Duck. It only takes 2 Psychics to take us down. But I'm pretty confident that we can take out Steven in a couple of tries. And I think I've got his little swapping pattern down, so if you'll excuse me, we're gonna reset and try again. 3rd time's the charm. And I think you guys know the drill by now. We're going to immediately go with all 6 curses here. Yeah, we're going to be outsped by everything, but we are going to be hitting super hard and be very tanky, at least physically speaking. And we got a free turn thanks to Spikes. And turns out that's correct. With all those curses, he swaps into Metagross, and look at that damage, man. Oh, that was with Return. So we're going to switch to Hidden Power Ground. Out comes Claydol. Immediately, we're going to go for Rest. Thankfully, we don't get crit. Well, as if Slimer was fed up with getting crit, she lands a crit of her own on Claydol, which she didn't need, but must have been very cathartic. Good old Steven sends Skarmory back out, and does get a proc off a Steel Wing. Not a big deal, but again, you can notice how much less damage we're dealing. It doesn't matter in the end, though. Skarmory can't do much to us outside of critting. We get hit and paralyzed off a Thunder. I rolled my eyes at that. But yeah, double weak to ground, get out of here. As Cradilly comes out, we're going to go for Rest right away. It's a real shame we don't have Liquid Ooze here, because Cradilly does have Giga Drain, and it would damage itself while trying to drain health from us. I don't mind if Cradilly gets an Ancient Power proc. I mean, it has 5 power points of Giga Drain, 5 power points of Ancient Power, and then 10 power points of Sludge Bomb, so I'm pretty sure we could outlast that. Last up is Armaldo. It has Slash, which has a high crit ratio, so going to sleep right away just for safety. The turns we're asleep can also help Confusion pass, and look at that, right as we wake up, snap out of Confusion, Hidden Power, yeah, if we almost one-shot Skarmory with a move it resists, Hidden Power, yeah, no question about it. So yeah, Grimer and Hoenn, way better than Gulpin and Kanto. And I think that mostly boils down to the fact that Gulpin didn't have access to Curse, but Grimer did. Still though, as we check in our Slimer Pro Tag into the Hall of Fame here, we end off at level 83, that's still not great. That smooth performance was largely due to the fact that we were over-leveled, and we had a high attack stat to take advantage of, another advantage Grimer had over Gulpin. But 7 hours, 44 minutes, yeah, that's way faster. Let's check how much. We can also determine where we're going to place Grimer here in our invasive species ranking system I came up with. Okay, so level 83, that's well and truly in the D rank tier. 7 hours, 44 minutes isn't too bad, but it is C rank. Now, whether to place it in C or D, I'm going to go with the fact that it was closer to reaching the D tier time. That and Phoebe was extremely luck-based to get by, so Grimer being in the D tier, very comfortable having it there. Next up is Pokemon Fire Red with just a bag on. Looking forward to that one. See you guys there. Have a good one.